How are you?
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Now, Don, we're about to speak to a man. A man? He's a man. He's a male. And we reckon we were pretty fit when we played footy, and we probably were for our own sport. But this man here, incidentally, it says he was. This is what his Wikipedia says. He was born during 1972 or 1973. I have no idea what that means. We'll ask him in a minute. He is a swimming coach of sorts. He is the youngest swimmer ever to win the Triple Crown. We'll ask him what that means. He was, I think, an inaugural member, or maybe one of the very early members of the Brighton Icebergers. He, in 2014, he broke the world record from the arch to arc competition. I don't know what that means. We'll ask him that. He is a triathlon expert. He is probably the fittest man you'll ever meet in your life. He has a sister, but that's not why he's here. He is just as important as his sister, but the brother and sister team called the Van Wisses. Is it Van Wisse? Yes. John Van Wisse is with us. His sister, I think, lives in Perth. I've met her over there on a couple of occasions at a sushi train restaurant. I've sat next to her and spoke to her. Welcome, John Van Wisse.
Oh, thanks, boys.
Van Wisse?
That's it, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
now, John, what does that mean? You're born, it says, they think during 1972 or 1973.
I got no idea. How does Wikipedia work? I didn't write that.
How would anyone possibly say that?
It was a slow birth. It took a while.
Were you born in 1972, were you?
I was born in 72, yeah.
Yes, or 73, so Wikipedia says. Now, John, I want to know.
And he was also coached by a league footballer. Do you realise that? Swimming?
I was?
You were Mark Green?
Oh, Greenie, yes.
Now, you didn't realise he played league footy?
I knew his brother did.
Yeah, and so did Mark. He played a few games for St Kilda.
Yeah, that was at the Brighton Bars days.
Nice.
The thing that fascinated me, was it says that you ran and swam and cycled from London to Paris.
Yeah, that's...
Just tell us some of your... mate, don't be bashful. I know you probably won't be. Just tell us some of the feats you've done and what does that mean? You ran, swam and cycled. I got a feeling you had to swim over to Paris across the channel, did you?
Yes.
Well, just tell us what that is.
Well, that event's called the Arch to Arc. So you start...
that is the Arch to Arc.
Yeah, so you start in the Marble Arch of London and then you hopefully finish in the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. So you run from the Marble Arch in London, you run 140 kilometres to the English Channel. You then swim the English Channel, and then you cycle from Calais to the Arc de Triomphe in Paris.
John, I'm weary just listening to this. So you run 140 kilometres. Yeah. Do you have a break or a rest?
Yeah, well, you've got a backlog from the high tide of the English Channel, so you work out how much rest you're going to have, but the clock doesn't stop. So I backlog 24 hours from the start of my run, and the run took 15:52. So my rest period was 15:52 to 24 hours, but the clock's not stopping. So everybody who tries to do it works out how aggressive or they're going to have a longer rest. But if you mess that up, you've missed the whole event.
So you hold the record?
I did. No, it's broken now.
And you're going to try and reclaim it, or is it?
I'm trying. I've tried a few times. I've broken down a few times.
Oh, have
getting
you?
old, but I'm going to try and have another crack in a few years.
So is it an annual event, John?
Oh no, Don. It's every summer. People try it every week from probably June to September. So it's amazing. It's quite. A lot of people have a crack at it, but
so you're really dependent on the tide.
Well, you book your window in, so you get a week's window, and you just hope you get good weather in that week. So you're backlogging from the high tide of the channel when the boatman reckons the best swimming day is going to be, and then you work out how aggressive you want to take the run.
So hang on, you're talking about lay periods and all the rest. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Do you run for an hour and take a rest, or do you run for 3 hours and take a rest?
No, I kept running, and towards the end I was ahead of schedule, which was the 24-hour mark. So I started walking a lot, probably the last 20 or 30K, and get more food into me. Try and
hang on, you were walking the last 20, 30K?
Yeah, because I was ahead of the 24-hour schedule. I
got a paradigm.
You didn't rest for that period of that rate, 140.
I kept going for the run, but I walked a bit at the end to try and get food into me because I was ahead of the 24-hour turnaround, which was from the high tide. So I backlogged 24 hours from the high tide of the English Channel. So whatever you do under 24 hours is your rest period. So because I was ahead of schedule, I was trying to get more food into myself and walk a bit more.
So you run, you did the 140K, and then you had about a 5-hour period before the tide swung, or 4 hours?
Oh, I got there 15:52, but then it's like a half an hour drive to where you're staying.
Righto. So then you got in the English Channel and swam across it.
Yeah.
That is just I know Des Renford's done it several times, and your sister's done it, but how debilitating mentally. I maybe physically you could do it. You have a cage over you?
No, there's no sharks there, so
you have no sharks, no other things that
no one's been
get
eaten
you?
yet. So,
but you have a support boat.
You have a boat next to you, Sam. So the boat's guiding you across.
And what about the traffic, the ships and the things?
Yeah, so the boat, it's the English Channel Association, so they work in with all the boats, and they call ahead. And generally the boats adjust course for you. But my second crossing in '94. I actually got held up by 12 minutes by a Russian oil tanker towing another one, so I had to tread water in the shipping channel. This is when I was doing a solo crossing back in '94.
Holy mackerel.
So sometimes they don't adjust course for you, but generally the boats adjust course for you in the shipping channel.
So what are you, a runner, a swimmer or a cyclist?
Well, initially I was a distance swimmer, Don, and then I got bored of doing that, so then I went to marathon running, and then I went to Ironman triathlon, and I got bored of that, so I went back to marathon swimming. So it was basically just chopping and changing sports as I got sick of all the training.
So what do you find the hardest?
Oh, the bike I'd probably find the hardest. But,
really?
Yeah.
I would have thought that would be the easiest.
Oh, it's easy to ride, but to ride fast is...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So we're just counting this down. So 140K you run or get there.
Yep.
Then you swim across 24 miles, 6 miles?
It's 33K in a straight line if you land on Cape Grenade, which is the closest tip.
And you get swept offline a bit with the currents?
So I missed the tip in the arch because I had a big tide. So
33K in the swim, and then you get on the bike, and how far do you ride that?
291K.
Holy shit. And it's just, why?
Well, I'm no good at sprinting, so...
Now, why do you do it? Why do you do it? It must be excruciatingly painful to do.
It was. I mean, it had its moments. It was a real roller coaster, and one thing leads to the next. You start off with a 10K swim, and then you think, I can do 10K. I'll go to 20. I'll go to 30. It's just how it works. Once you work out you can do one thing, you start working out I can go a bit further or do it a bit better, and you move on to the next thing.
So what's important when you're swimming? Technique?
Oh, technique's important, but it's really just really keeping mentally strong, I think, because you have a lot of ups and downs, Don. Like you can be feeling good for an hour, all of a sudden you have a bad patch, and you got to try and get back on top of that and get food into you and try and get back into a rhythm. But it's a massive roller coaster ride, these endurance events.
You mentioned about weight. Now, for each leg that you do, there are different weights as far as the optimum is concerned.
Yeah.
Now, what do you work out your correct weight to be to cover those three disciplines?
Oh, I mean, for when I just did the English Channel by itself, you're not allowed to wear a wetsuit, so I got really fat. But when I did the arch...
fat? Do you do fat percentages of the body?
No, I just ate. Actually, the first time...
So you don't know what fat percentage you were on
No,
your body?
No, I'm not that scientific.
Speak, please, Don. Speak into it, mate.
Sorry, John, just put up with this rudeness.
No, mate, it's not. I'm not having a go at you. We want people to hear your great questions.
So what you fat...
You just turned it away from your mouth then. Turn it to your mouth.
Look at the way Tom's doing it.
Go on, man, please. We're trying to make this a three-way conversation, not two of us.
If this was censored, I'd tell you to...
Fuck off.
So your fat percentage, you don't know what your
I wouldn't.
Your fat percentage is for the different...
I'll put it this way, Don. When I first tried the channel in '93, I was really skinny. I couldn't get fat because I was young and I was swimming 100 plus K a week. I didn't actually make the channel the first year. I had to get resuscitated by Dawn Fraser because I got hypothermia. And then I went back the next year and I put on 23 kilos. I was eating
23?
I was eating like 5 Big Macs, and I was eating until I was uncomfortable. And I cut my training down by half because I couldn't get fat with doing all that training. So I cut my miles.
Don can't get a fat now. It doesn't matter how many Big Macs he eats. John,
Yes.
John, it's extraordinary that you can do this. Why do you do what do you do it for?
I don't really have an answer, to be
No,
honest.
I don't mean that.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean that with great admiration.
Thanks,
It's
Sam.
extraordinary to think that you'd be bothered to do that.
Oh, it's just one thing led to the next. Like I said, you start with one swim, and then you think, I could go a bit further, and another race comes up.
So could, say, someone like Mark Spitz or Michael Phelps, could they swim across the English Channel any quicker than you?
Oh, yeah, they're freaks. Yeah, if they got the training. I'm not sure, but, I mean, they're mentally super tough and they're freak athletes, so they just have to put the body weight on and change their training. So I'd imagine someone like Mike Phelps would smash it.
Would he?
He'd have to get fat, that's all, and he'd have to do different training. But
why get fat for the blood? For
the channel, he's got to get the cold tolerance. No, not for the buoyancy, just for the cold tolerance. Really? So in the English Channel, you can't be too
grease
skinny.
And oil. Grease
yeah, I mean that
Vaseline.
doesn't really help. That just stops chafing. You got to work out how much body fat you're going to have on.
Like a seal.
A little bit, yeah. So obviously the less time you're in the water, the less fat you got to be.
So how much do you lose if that's the case in that swim?
I mean, when I first did the channel, I'd nearly died. So I lost maybe 10 kilos. I reckon that was traumatic.
In the 33K, you lost.
Yeah, but I had to get resuscitated. But then the next year, I put on 23 kilos, and I probably lost hardly any because I was under no stress.
Under that what? Because of hypothermia. So
yeah.
you lost it through hypothermia.
Yeah, I was just shaking.
The body
and
trying to keep warm.
Yeah, but then the next year I got real fat, and it was a much better swim. I had sun on my back, where the year before was really cold and 4-6 winds. So the next year I was under a lot less stress, and I hardly lost any weight.
Don't walk out when I ask this question.
Yeah.
Would it be, don't worry, it's very inoffensive.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to swim one morning, get in the ocean at Queenscliff and swim across to Devonport, 180 miles?
Oh, no, that's too, you'd need, that'd be too far.
You couldn't physically survive in the ocean?
Not by yourself. You need a boat to give you food and you need guidance.
So
180, or you'd...
300.
It'd be a big ask, but it's... It'd be a big ask. I've done a double channel, which is 80 kilometres. I've done England up and back.
Double channel?
Yeah, I did that in 2010.
How long was the rest period?
I had no rest. You're allowed 10 minutes when you get out of the water. You've got to be fully out of the water. But, I mean, it's not that when you're out of the water, it's not like it's 30 degrees, so you don't want to, sunbake on the beach.
So, John, I mentioned the, which I've got a feeling is not one and the same thing as the arc to arch. The Triple Crown, is that not the same thing, is it?
No, I haven't actually done the Triple Crown. The Triple Crown.
Why does it say that? The youngest swimmer to swim the Triple Crown. Why is that?
That's maybe I coached the youngest who did it. That's probably what that is.
Oh, you coached the youngest.
Yeah,
what is the Triple Crown?
Triple Crown is the English Channel, swimming around Manhattan Island, and the LA swim. I forget what that one's called. So if you do the three, the Americans are real big on that. You add the times together, and that's the Triple Crown. So I forget what the one in LA is called, but that's the three of them. So it's a Los Angeles swim, which I think is about 30K, the English Channel, and the race around Manhattan, which is 47K. So if you've done those three, they call that the Triple Crown, and they add their times together.
So besides concentrating on swimming and mentally and physically, you have to put up with the port authorities and the immigration people. It says, I'm told, you were arrested because you were assumed to be an illegal immigrant trying to swim off one of the African countries and embark in Europe just for a better life, apparently.
That's partly true, Sam. That was during the Arch to Arc. So what happened?
Not really true.
Oh, well, it is. I did get accused of being illegal immigrants. So I'd done the run leg of the Arch to Arc, and with the start of the channel, the boat takes you to the beach you're going to leave from. You don't actually just walk up to the beach. So, and then the boat can't go all the way in. So you dive off the boat, swim the 100 metres into shore, then you start your swim leg. So I'd run 140K, and I was obviously a mess. And because it's the Arch to Arc's a triathlon, you're allowed to wear a wetsuit. So that's what I was trying to say earlier. You don't have to be as fat. So I swam. I jumped off the boat, swam into the beach, and I was already exhausted. And it was a real rough day, so I struggled to get out of the water. And there's no sand there; it's pebbles, so you struggle to walk up the pebbles. And a husband and wife walking a dog saw me and thought I'd swum from France to England. Yeah. So they called the police. And
do-gooders.
Yeah, so my crew on the beach got interrogated. I just jumped in the water. I didn't know what was happening. But then I got massive worldwide coverage after.
Oh, did you?
Oh, it was great. So that got all the media coverage, and I didn't get home for a week or so I didn't have access to my emails. But I had emails from all around the world, CNN and all that saying, can we do an interview? And it was too late. So
is it fiscally, financially rewarding? Is there any money in it? Do you get sponsored? Or?
I've been lucky. A good mate, Johnny Wall, sponsored me, and BPM sponsored me. So I've had some great sponsors to kind of cover my costs, and I'm lucky I've had great crews, so they're always good fun. But no, it's not. It's more just the love of it.
So when do you get motivated? Like after one of those events, you must sit down and say, "Oh, that's it." How long does it take, or you can't put a time on it, that I'm going to have another go? So that's the first question. And the second one, we hear about the length of the event, but how much training actually goes in? Do you do more than the actual distance in training?
No, it's a little bit of a leap of faith on with the training, because basically I couldn't do the Arch Dark in training because I'd be too exhausted for the actual event. Then I would have used up all my tickets in training. So I was doing like 70K training runs. I was doing like so every third week I'd do a 70K training run, and then during the week I'd try to do the distance of the event in the week. So I was trying to run 140K a week, swim 40K a week, ride about 300, and then do 3 or 4 weight sessions. So that was my goal, and I'd do one long run every third week, which was 70K. I'd do a big swim set in the pool, which was 120 hundreds every Sunday. And then during the week, I'd basically do an hour and a half running, mostly barefoot on grass. I was trying to strengthen my feet. Then I'd do a gym session, and I'd go to the pool and swim 6K and do 60K kind of bike ride. So they were massive days. So I got a bit sick of all the training in the end. It was just an effort to get it through every day.
Tired listening to it.
You'd hit the brick wall.
I did. I suffered the training. I just got over it, and I had some real bad days. It got real mentally Groundhog Day, mentally tough. And
mentally.
The trick is, and I wasn't that good all the time, is trying to say you're doing a run, not to think I've still got a swim and a bike and a weights to go. Try not to think too far.
It's pretty hard not to think.
It is. Like I had some bad days, but I did the best I could. And
So what about in the actual event? If you're going further than you actually train, it's a leap. You call it a leap of faith.
Yeah,
you must have hit it there in the actual event itself.
I had a lot of ups and downs, and we actually had a real tough. Like I said, you get a 1 week's window, and because we only booked it a year out, we were on a massive king tide. So, and then we were the back of a hurricane from America. So every English Channel swimmer that was a solo swimmer cancelled. So I got special permission to actually do the swim because I'd done a double crossing without a wetsuit in bad conditions with the same boatman. So he gave me special permission, even though I'd run 140K, to attempt the channel.
So double crossing over and then
I did that. I did that in 210. Yeah, without a wetsuit.
That is, you should be certified, mate. Seriously. There's a man called Colin O'Brady. He's just written a book called The Impossible First, where he walked across Antarctica, the entire expanse of Antarctica, unaided, no assistance at all, on his own.
Yeah,
carried all his. Have you ever thought of climbing Everest, or have you climbed Everest?
No.
Have you ever thought of doing anything else that might captivate your adrenaline factor?
I hate walking, and I've never tried climbing, so I don't think I'll be any good at climbing.
So, what is there? Anything next that you would like to do?
I'd like to try and get my record back, Sam. But I've had a few attempts, and I've had a few, injuries along the way, and just hasn't happened yet because
what do you have to make up? What time?
I've got to still make up. My record's been broken by 10 hours, so I've got to take a fair bit off. But there's a lot of the guy that got my record basically just cut the rest down and had a better window. So I think.
What do you mean a better window?
Like I said,
tide and that.
Yeah, I swam on a massive tide, and I was the back of a hurricane.
And headwinds riding?
Yeah, so basically when I did the channel, every solo swimmer that was going to do the channel cancelled. So I was the only one who swam that day, and that was after running 140K. So I could take 5 or 6 hours off the swim, cut 5 or 6 hours of rest off what I had. I know I can run faster. It's all talk though till you do it. And I've attempted it a couple of times, but I've got injuries and haven't,
Is the body breaking down because of age?
No, just stupid things. I was in really good shape last year, and then I got carried away 7 weeks out and tried to do too much training and got a slight tear in my Achilles and wasn't, couldn't perform. So So it's just trying to do as much training as you can without breaking down. It's just a real fine line.
And was this a brother and sister competition with your sister Tammy, who's done it? She's done it?
She was a marathon swimmer, so she swam. We both swam across Port Phillip Bay in '93 as a training session with the English Channel. So Port Arlington to Frankston.
From where to where?
That's Port Arlington to Frankston, Sam. So
did you?
We raced across there as a training session, and then later that year we went and did the English Channel. And that's the year I didn't make it. I had to get resuscitated.
With her?
Yeah, well, we had a boat each, so she got across that year and got the quickest time.
Don't tell me she.
So I was a bit upset about that.
Oh, I'm going to say.
And she got a Rolex watch because back then the fastest crossing of the year gets a Rolex watch. So that was a double whammy.
The women as good as the men, but they're obviously.
So how many people try it each year?
Oh, the English Channel. Oh, it's packed. So it's real. Yeah, it's amazing. Like
what do you mean packed?
Well, like I said, there's
plenty do it, Don.
There might be, I'm guessing, 20 or 30 boatmen that are allowed to do it, and you've got to book in your window, and they book up to 4 people in a week. So if you're booked in first, you get number 1 spot. If Sam's second, he gets number 2. If I'm third, I get number 3. So the first best day, you get offered the best day because you're number 1. If you decline that day, then they'll ask Sam, do you want this spot? Don hasn't accepted it. And if Sam says no, then I get the chance to swim. But I have to wait for number 1 and 2 to actually decline or get their swim done before I'm allowed to have my chance. So it's chock-a-block, so it's hard to get a good spot.
Don was telling me he knows a bloke who swam from Melbourne to Perth and back again, and he was nearly going to break the record, but he stuffed up the tumble turn at the Perth end.
Yeah, it's a fair swim.
Yeah, no.
Were you involved with Campbell Brown when he tried?
Yes. Oh, Campbell was coached by Shelley Taylor-Smith, but Campbell was amazing. Like, he was really unlucky. He had a shocking window. It started off perfectly flat, and they were predicting the storms to come in 12 hours later, but they came in early. So everybody that swam got pulled out. It was really horrific conditions, and if he had a half decent window, he would have got across comfortably.
That's amazing.
Yes, he trained so hard. He swam through winter. He was doing 2-hour swims in the bay in the middle of winter with no wetsuit. He was
up with the Icebergers. You were inaugural member of the Icebergers, or not? This
Johnny Locko started that. He's the Johnny Locko's.
Well, he wasn't born. He was born in about 72 or 73. It says. You started.
Johnny Locko's a legend.
We shouldn't be talking off air, but your support team are in with us. Johnny Locko, who started the Icebergers. I used to live at Brighton, Johnny, and I used to watch people swimming there when it was 4 or 5 degrees in the winter, and I thought, what would you do that for?
Yeah.
What do you do that for?
Well, actually, Johnny's got the story. I can't remember it. That I was 16, and I think I was training for a channel for a few years' time. And I came out of the shower and I was shaking in the shower, sitting in a chair, and he saw me. He was the mayor of Brighton at the time, and he was the president of the Icebergers. And he walked past, saw me shaking, went and got me hot chocolates. And 30 years later, I'm still Iceberging.
I'm sorry that we're talking off air to someone who is a legend there, but that's just the way it is, Don.
Johnny's part of my support crew, and he's been fantastic.
And travels with you all on the attempts and that?
Yeah, so I've always have a great crew.
Fund that yourself?
No, they will get sponsors for that.
Get sponsors?
And Johnny's a big party. He's got a lot of contacts, and so we've had some good sponsors, and they're always good fun trips when they're successful, obviously, but not always.
And are you do you surf? Do you give a...
No, I don't like surfing.
Don't like surfing? Don't go down the coast in the summer?
I don't think I could stand up on a board. I tried it once. I was hopeless.
Yeah, that's amazing.
What about, we talked in a previous session about drugs.
Yeah.
Is that, are you tested in your sport? And
not really. I got tested once, but I didn't get tested at the end. Actually, one year, I when I was trying to go for the record, the following year, I tried to go for a 20-hour turnaround rather than 24 from the channel, and it was a 30-degree day, and I'm hopeless in heat. And I ended up getting there in 17 hours. I didn't get enough rest. And I said, can I go on the next tide, which was 10 hours later? And the boatman said, I'm not taking you out because somebody passed away about a month before. So they said, you've got to get a medical. So,
I see.
Yeah, so we went to get the medical. I got the blood test and everything, and I had too much blood in my urine, and my heart rate was too high. So I wasn't allowed to actually start the swim league, but I probably would have missed the record.
Hang on, you had too much blood in your urine?
That's after running 140K in 30 degrees. So. But, so not really. You don't really get tested in that event, so... Who knows what's going on? But
can you take drugs?
Well, I haven't, but obviously, the way society is now, I don't know.
I've
never been
and things or recreational drugs. Or
I don't think recreational. I think that'll make you worse.
That's right. We were talking about that.
But
recreational drugs.
I don't think steroids would help.
Enhancing.
Steroids would help you put muscles on, but there's different kinds now. I don't know. I've never taken performance enhancing drugs, but obviously now you hear about it. I think you need to you have to be rich and have a doctor, and you're going to do all that stuff.
Yeah. You know, as rife as we know in the Tour de France, and that's an endurance event too. So obviously they could do.
I know that from watching. Like I was a massive fan of Lance, and then I saw what happened, and I couldn't believe how detailed it is. I
still am a great fan of Lance.
Yeah, I mean, if everyone was cheating, I don't know.
That's it.
It's just a bad topic.
We've had that discussion. I think he's fantastic. I know he's a drug cheat. He did it after he got testicular cancer, and everyone was doing it. So, Jesus. Anyhow, no, that's not a popular thing to say. I know that.
Yeah.
So, Dawn Fraser, you mentioned her earlier.
Yeah, we were lucky to have Dawn on a lot of our swims. Dawn was on when we swam across Port Phillip Bay, and that got us massive exposure. We were doing that as a training session for the English Channel because we wanted to be the first brother and sister to the English Channel and get the world record time. And so we swam across the bay, and I got the record across the bay, and then went to the channel. And so Dawn came on my boat, and we had a real bad window.
Was that through John?
No, that was through John. How
did you know Dawn Fraser?
My sister was, my sister was friends with her daughter, Dawn Lorraine Fraser. Yep. So that's how that started. So I met Dawn when we swam across the bay.
John hadn't been there, of course. No.
No, I knew John then, but
no, John with Dawn.
No, no.
Hey? Anne Sydney?
Anne Sydney was Miss England. Good friends with John.
Miss World.
Miss World, sorry, Miss World.
Well, you want to aim a bit higher than that, mate. Miss Universe.
Miss Universe.
That is fantastic. Don, holy Jesus. Sorry, Don, that's blaspheming.
That's blasphemy again.
That's Anne Sydney. Don't tell me you've been there, Johnny. Johnny's telling me he's been there. I can tell by that quizzical look he had on his face. It was either that or wind that he's been there with Anne Sydney. Oh, so you wouldn't think it attracts the people. We're gender neutral here, man or women or beast. So it has its fair. It's still, you're looking at me as though I'm a fucking idiot.
What are we talking about? Listen, that was Johnny Locko with Anthony, not me.
You didn't answer my question before. Yeah. How long does it take you to get motivated to do another one after you've done one?
After I actually did the arch, I was a mess for 6 months.
Physically and mentally, or just physically?
Your muscles recover quite quick, but I was just drained.
Mentally?
And, if I exercised, I was exhausted. It just knocked me about. And
hang on, Johnny.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I couldn't. I struggled. Like, it's funny because I was going to the pool and doing 6K most days training, and then 12K on a Sunday. But when I came back from the arch, I'd have a coffee swim with my mates, and I struggled to swim 2K because I didn't have a goal, and I was just tired. So it kind of it took a long time to recover.
Well, like what, 2 years?
No, not 2 years. I reckon 6 months, and then I started to get my energy, but when I say energy back, just to do anything productive, to do any productive kind of training. And as soon as I did the arch, I was already keen to go back because I got the record, but I had a lot of terrible conditions. I stuffed a lot of things up, so I already knew that I could go a lot quicker. And I thought, I want to try and nail it while I'm young enough because somebody's going to come along and beat my time in better conditions, which turned out to be accurate. So I was mentally, I wanted to do the arch again, but physically it took probably 6 months.
The guy that holds the record, is he younger than you?
They're generally late 30s, 40s.
So when's when are you at your peak?
I reckon probably late 30s and your 40s for ultra endurance event because you need that base of training. And it's not obviously you're trying to go fast, but it's not a speed. You're still going fast, but it's not a speed contest. It's more a survival. You need the miles in your body. You need to be mentally stable. Generally more mentally stable when you get older. So,
do you think there's a position for you at an AFL club about the mental preparation of? No, I'm serious, mate.
Yeah.
You don't have to have played football necessarily to know how to get yourself up mentally.
I don't know. Yeah.
Actually, you're not a tutor, not a.
No, I'm not into all that mental stuff.
And you haven't written a book or done a doco on it?
I can't even read, Sam. I don't read books.
Don read a book on the the joys of cooking and the joys of sex. He tells me now
Which was
he
better.
can cook a chicken in 32 different positions. So John, when are you going to? When is you anticipating doing it next?
Because of the coronavirus, I can't get a window next year.
I see.
Which is good because I've still got a bit of Achilles tendonitis from last year, so I'm struggling to get on top of that. As I get older,
well, if we're still here doing this, what we want to do is just as you. That'd be the run first, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
No, I think we'll get you after the run. I want you just before you dip a toe in the channel.
Yeah.
I'd like you to get on the phone and speak to us down the line here.
Well,
That'd be
coherent.
interesting. Yeah.
I don't know how coherent.
Well,
I'll be.
Don, that is.
Can I ask you one question? Just to let the people.
Like, Don.
You said you got an Achilles.
Achilles
now, for those
tendonitis,
people out there, they're pretty hard to overcome. Are you going to have an operated on, or are you just going to let nature take its course?
Oh, it's been a year, Don. So I actually got the tear in the Achilles, and I had the tendonitis because I was trying to go for it last year. I had to pull the pin, and then when I stopped training, the tendonitis has got worse, and I tried to start running again, and it just doesn't go away. It's painful all the time.
I'd say you're fucked.
So I've been seeing different people, and they reckon I've got to try those blood injections, the PRP next, where they spin your blood around and put it back in. So I'm going to try that. Next. I've got to find out.
Don's an expert. His club pioneered that blood doping.
Oh, this is where they spin your blood around. Though.
Yeah, they've done that. Hawthorn have done that.
I don't know what they did.
Well, we discussed that, Don.
This is legal.
Yeah, this is, SARS say it is, but the Americans say it's not. They draw the chemicals out of the blood.
Yeah, I hope you get that right.
Yeah, it's been a year, so
thing.
as you get older, injuries take longer to heal. And I just expect to wake up one morning and to be gone, but it's dragging on, yeah. So apart from that, I feel great, so I can get that right.
Well, it doesn't stop you from swimming, though, does it?
No, so I still do that. I still feel really good. Just got to get that right. And like I said, it's not a speed contest. It's more just a survival kind of a thing. So I still think I can do it.
For a man who was born in 1972 or 1973, I don't know why. I would check that, why it says that. John Van Wisse, a genuine Australian superstar. Don, you get tired thinking about doing it. There's no way that you and I, mind you, he probably couldn't play league football.
It's a pity that your sport doesn't lend itself to television, isn't it?
Oh, we got good coverage the first time we did it. We were really lucky, so... but you never know. So I think that illegal immigrant kicked it off. So I got real good coverage.
So why doesn't someone when you get a handy cam and follow? Why didn't you do it?
No, we made a movie in
you did make a movie.
So
last year did you make a doco? Where is it? What's it? How do you see it?
It's called Crossing the Line.
Crossing the Line on what?
It'll be on YouTube.
YouTube it.
Yeah, YouTube. Channel 7 played it twice, so we got...
Did they?
Yeah, we got good coverage.
I asked you, have you written a book? Did I ask you if you've written a book? And perhaps I didn't know.
Definitely haven't written a book. It'll be in crayon.
That's right. That's how we got into Don's only ever read 2 books.
So what's it? Hang on. What's it called?
It's called Crossing the Line.
Crossing the Line.
John Van Wisse, yeah.
I'll
YouTube it tonight.
It's a documentary. It goes for about an hour.
In fact, if I'd known that before we spoke to him, I would have looked at it before we came on. Well, John Van Wisse, that's fantastic. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks, Don.
You cannot be serious. And that is amazing.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Why people
when we hit the wall doing those wind sprints, Don, we're just pikers. Anyhow, that's John Van Wisse, ultra marathon star of Australian sport.